Greetings traders, this is Houston Trong from thetradingedge.org, and here is your weekly market outlook for September the 7th to the 11th, 2020. First and foremost, I want to wish you a happy Labor Day. Hope you're enjoying the Labor Day long weekend wherever you are. And in case you missed it this week, well, this past week, the markets, you can say, definitely removed some of the speculative excess that was building up. If you've tuned into these videos for the past couple of weeks, I've been saying and commenting that the markets have been kind of on fire, firing on all cylinders, whichever metaphor you want to use. Momo up, it has been flying to the upside. And finally this week we saw a bit of a pullback, and we in fact saw maybe the biggest one-day sell-off since June. So it's been several months now, so roughly about 3 months since we had this level of volatility. And it's nice to see some of this excess getting trimmed out. So now, moving forward into this coming week, this shortened holiday week, the question is, was this simply a short pullback that takes us back to more reasonable levels, or is this the start of something bigger? That's something we need to watch for. Very hard to tell at this point, because frankly, it's really up to the sellers and the buyers to see who's willing to step up and defend, or who's willing to step up and sell more aggressively. Because we do have some very, very clear technical lines now, so to speak, that will help us distinguish which party is more in control. So before we get to the charts, let's talk about the coming week. Both on the Econ Calendar and the earnings calendar. Then we'll get to those charts as we always do. So we got the short holiday week this week, so we only have 4 days of trading, and nothing really on the Econ Calendar except for Thursday, where we have that jobless claims number again. This jobless claims number this past week was interesting once again, because as I've been saying for the past it's been months now, the market's still interpreting good news as bad news for the market and bad news as good news for the market. And things began to get weak for the markets starting on Thursday. Again, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, the markets were flying. It was firing on all cylinders, as I titled the last week's newsletter. But I did warn, though, that Thursday was the possibility for volatility. And I saw, I've always been, saying that, if you want to square away any kind of loose longs going into Thursday, because that jobless claims number has been, consistently has been the volatility, sort of the unknown volatility each and every week. It's the one place in the week where we don't know what's going to happen. It seems to be the only narrative right now driving the market, seems to be that jobless claims number. People watching it quite carefully. And this past week, once again, this is only the second time since the pandemic started, we had a number that was below the expectation. So they're expecting 900,000 plus jobless claims this past week. We got below 900,000. So that's good news for the economy, but not good news for the market. That means the Fed, and you can read the number itself, and you can debate whether or not it's the the way they're reporting the numbers or not. But the way the markets interpreted it was not positive for the markets. It was good for the economy. That's great that people are filing less jobs claims, but the markets want more headlines that will force the Fed to act. And this is not conducive to an active Fed, fact who's going to be able to keep the loose monetary policy. And then we got the employment number on Friday, which again turned out good for the economy. It turned out better than expected. Again, not good for the stock markets. The markets had another series of selling, and once again the headline risk was there. So had the number been really weak, again the markets may have been interpreted differently. Because the numbers were good, you cannot use that as an excuse for the Fed to print money. So the Fed is running out of excuses now. If the economy begins to turn around, this will be very interesting to see how it plays out. So continue to watch that number. So this coming Thursday, we've got the jobs claims number. Then CPI next Friday, the 11th. That'll be one to watch for as well. So Tuesday, Wednesday, that'll be time to get into some positions. Again, watch out as you take those into Thursday and Friday if you're swinging. Now to the Econ Calendar, nothing much on obviously reporting on Monday, but we do pick up things on Tuesday, where we have a number of interesting names, high beta tech names or NASDAQ names that are reporting. We've got Slack reporting, WORK, work. Lululemon has taken a bit of a haircut last few sessions, but has been a high flyer. So watch Lululemon, I'll be watching that one. Coop, again, another software company in the cloud space. Had been a real high flyer, has pulled back quite a bit, but that'll be one to watch. COUP. Now on Wednesday, ZS, Zscaler, RH, Restoration Hardware, and and that'll be interesting to watch. That'll be a good retail name to watch. And you got the GME. GameStop has been a continued train wreck, so that'll be interesting to see if they finally pull it out. It'll be difficult. I don't think they will, but that'll be one to watch. And on Thursday, a few interesting names. You got Fuel Cell, FCEL, small. You can say it's a penny stock, but it'll be fun. It's a fun one to trade. Peloton, that's been people are expecting this thing to blow its numbers out. So watch PTON on Thursday, and you got Oracle. Well, actually, a few interesting ones. Oracle, ORCL, always interesting to see that one. That one should do well. If it doesn't, well, actually, it's not. That's not true. That one may not do well because this may not be the time in the cycle for Oracle to do well. Typically, it does very well in Q1, not at the end of Q3, Q4, because that's not when the enterprise tech spend happens. It happens at the end of Q4, and that's why you typically get a bump in the numbers in Q1. So, Play, Dave & Buster's, that has been doing well as of late. And another good one to watch is, we talked about that one already, Zoomies. So another retail name. I like to see how that trades because the retail sector is one to watch. Nothing much reporting on Friday, so just that CPI number on Friday. All right, so that's it for the econ news and the earnings calendar. Let's jump to the charts now and talk about the week that was and how the charts have changed drastically this past week. So for the past 5 to 6 months, it's pretty much been a non-stop relentless ride to the upside with that small pullback in June. And the June pullback, now we're looking at the VIX now, so it was a pop up, the inverse, looks surprisingly similar to what we just had this past week. So if you recall last week on VIX, it gave us the heads up because it actually gave us an outside week, a week prior to the indices logging in that outside week. So let's get to the high level stuff, and then we'll zoom into the lower time frame charts as we always do. So this being said, so here, start from the highest level here. It's still outside, inside, and down on the 3-month chart. So technically, all I've done here is we've come back now to retest the breakdown on the VIX 3-month chart, right? So outside, inside, and down. It's basically a retest. It comes back in and retests that open. That level there is around 2883. We're now trading at 2892. So you can see how close that test is. We've tested it now, and now do we see sellers step back up? Possibly, right? Because that's a retest of the breakout. It stops out any folks who got long or short in the sequence, long in equities. This is what you have to contend with now. So here on the monthly chart, we did finally, because this thing had been going Momo down, right? Outside bar down, down. This past month now, we did get that reversal. We reversed that Momo down move there. The only thing that, that prevents you from going just full on long on VIX and completely short equities is this. That blue line right there, look at how that held, all right? So that thing really held. That's the quarterly open. So look at that level. This is why the quarterly chart still appears red, because the VIX could not break above and stay above that quarterly open. So it found some sellers up there, and now we're just basically retesting the breakdown level on that 3-month chart. So now, we still got plenty of month left, so this chart is far from conclusive and finished. But right now, this is looking like a shooting star, right? But again, we have a lot of month left, so we're not going to call it that right now. But right now, what you can say is that you have taken out that one side of that bar, and so that extinguishes that Momo down move that was happening on the monthly chart. Let's get a little bit more insight now by going on the weekly chart. Here's what happened. I remember 2 weeks ago, 1, 2, right? So this year we have been going basically Momo down the weekly. Remember, we've been saying that's Momo down. How's that going to change? Last week it changed. Now, to be frank, I take some shorts here because I'm expecting this thing to fade back in again. But I got stopped out on those, so be fully frank. And but I entered into a great short at the end of the week to short VIX again back into these levels. Now here, it's Momo up, right? So it broke this momentum down sequence here, Momo down sequence, and then followed up with a Momo up sequence of its own, basically coming back through this range. And maybe it was going to take out that level there, but they definitely found some sellers up there. So right now on the weekly chart, we do know it's Momo up. So in order for this Momo sequence to get extinguished, you got to break below this past week's low. If you break above this past week's high, it's a continuation of that Momo up move. Maybe it goes outside bar up and inside bar, that's still Momo up, and then the following week you go another bar up, that continues the Momo up move, right? But you can see here, you still got potentially a lot of range to reclaim if it's really, if something really, if the next shoe drops and some new catalyst happens that is unforeseen by the markets shows up, then this thing could break and go all the way back up to here. The issue here is that this is not the same as it was back in March. What's the difference? Remember here, see down here, when this thing went Momo up, this is at the beginning of the quarter, right? So we had the quarterly open, that blue line, right there in play. It was easy for the buyers and the sellers, the buyers, excuse me, to break above that level and take it above. Here, you have to get above this. That's when you start to get really bearish. If you break above this quarterly open here, then that turns to a green VIX chart on the quarterly charts. Yeah, you can go a lot higher. But for now, this is what that was the line in the sand that the sellers needed to defend, and they did defend it quite aggressively. So right now it's not clear, but I'm giving it on the weekly time frame, on the monthly time frame. I'm giving it to the sellers of the indices and buyers of the VIX, but it's not clear cut because you moved so quickly, so fast that now you might just backfill a bit, right? So here's another view at it. Remember what happened in June? In June, I told you about that already. We had that big sell-off. It was the biggest sell-off since since the meltdown. We had a few days. We had one day in the S&P where it lost over 5%, and so it was basically that day here on the VIX. There, it was up 33% in one session, right? So that's a big move. But notice what happened here. The quarterly open held, right? So here, didn't even test the quarterly open. That thing was still green on the quarter. Look what happened. It broke into the Bollinger Bands. Tried to do a Bollinger Band walk. It failed. It broke below there, right? Look at that. Momo up, and then this level here is lower than that part. So basically, they broke below that low. It's a reversal, and then it fades back to touch the other side of the Bollinger Band. That's what's happened here now. Okay, so you're in the Bollinger Band right there, right? You break above it. This bar here looks a lot like this bar there, a shooting star, big shadow at top there. You break below there, the low, Friday's low. That's basically a break of the Bollinger Band walk. So if if the buyers can keep it up and stay above the Bollinger Bands, keep it going, that can go a lot higher. But as it stands right now, if it breaks below Friday's low, it is a failure of that Bollinger Band walk. We can expect a bit of backfilling because you've gone too far, too fast, and you might come back through the range again, coming out the other side. So that's the possibility. And that's what I'm going to be watching for. Is this bump in the VIX like what we had back in June? Okay. All right, so that's the background for the VIX chart. Let's look at a couple of interesting time frames. Number one is this one. So we've already started to break down the momentum here that was on the lower time frames. On the higher time frames, like I said, monthly, weekly, the momentum is currently up, but we're starting to see a break of that. Because look at the 2-day chart. You could say this is a momentum move outside, inside, and up, right? Hit the Bollinger Band, top end here, and look, it faded it right away. So boom, if they can break below that low there, that's a failure of this move, and likely come out the other side. Now the 4-hour chart looks like so, and the momentum has already been extinguished. It was Momo up right there. And then on Friday, the afternoon session, it faded. Boom, right there, and it's gone. So we had some really nice a fade on Friday. Is very clean. Here we had a nice Momo move going into Friday, the AM session. Right. So this is the Friday morning. This is the 4th. So here's the 4th. So this is going into this is the Friday. Thursday. Big Momo move. Look, this is once you understand what you're looking at, it is very clear. This is Thursday. This is the first big day. Well, not the first big day, but there was the big green day for the VIX this past week. It went Momo right from the get-go. So this is the first hour trading. Stopped at both sides. And then it goes Momo up. And you have no lower lows all day. Then on Friday, you actually start lower. And then it pops up. And it goes Momo up until 11:30. Then you get that reversal. So once you break below there, that's it. That's a reversal of that Momo up move. And then it comes back through the range now. And you end the week green because you're above the purple and the month green, but certainly was not a green day, right? Because that green line there is your daily level, opening level. So on a lower time frame chart, I think it was the 15 that I took it on, yeah, right there. So boom, there's the move into the Bollinger Bands, and right there, they try to pop it up again, inside bar up. These guys who buy this are hoping it's going to come up here. I fade it right here. Right in this sequence here, And then once you get the inside bar reversal, it's gone to the downside, basically closing to the lows of the day. So very, very nice sequence on the VIX. Bought VIX puts on that move to the downside. So nice to have that volatility back. It's just kind of getting a little boring, just just going straight up all the time. And I've always said it's oftentimes the trade's a lot easier going back through the range than it's just blasting in the highs all the time or going straight in the lows. That's why VIX was tricky, maybe 2 weeks ago, because you're always going in the lows and the trading was getting very choppy. Now you have range to reclaim, and it makes the trade a lot easier. Nice clean waves to the downside. There's your VIX chart on the 4 hour or intraday, 4 hour, 2 day, daily, and we do the week and the month. So let's spend a little bit of time with SPY, and then we'll fast forward the rest. SPY, now you know the VIX. Let's do the mirror opposite, pretty much. Okay, so here, 3-month chart, not quite the retest. So SPY still holding a lot stronger. It did the outside inside break to the upside. It has a pullback. Look at that. Does that look like it's threatening the trend? No, it's not threatening the trend. It's only been maybe one strong week of selling for the SPY. So here, it's just not even a pullback to the breakout area yet. So for right now, you got to stay bullish on that quarterly chart. Monthly chart, you did turn the month red. So the sellers were able to do that, but again, no lower low yet. Now, if this thing can break below there, then that's aggressive. It's not often you get to take out monthly lows, especially when the bars are large. It's easy to take out monthly lows when there's small bars like that, but when you've got big bars like this, if you can somehow turn this into an outside month, that'll get me to pay attention. Because then if you do outside month in September, in October you go outside month down, that's Momo down. And that's something you definitely want to be paying attention to. For now, too early to say how far selling takes us. We need to wait and see and watch each time frame carefully. Weekly chart, outside bar. Okay, so there you go. This outside bar wiped out to basically 2 weeks of gains. So this low here is 335.22, and that low there is 334.87. So that's what it did. It popped up higher during the week and then came back through, took out the past week's lows, so the 2 weeks lows. So it did a nice broadening formation there, outside bar, meaning it's outside of basically these 2 weeks of trading. So anyone who got involved late probably got stopped out in this sequence here. We test that 8-period moving average. Basically, it's a test of the 8-period on the weekly chart. This outside bar, again, if you've been watching these videos, this is not an actual bar in itself. Okay, this one outside bar. You need more context. One outside bar and engulfing bar doesn't mean anything at all, because if you just do a little bit of your own homework, or if you just watch some of these videos, you know that these outside bars do not portend, bearishness or bullishness or anything. You just need to see the next bar, because we had a big outside bar here. This is back in June. That's that scary week. And what happened? It went outside bar down, right? It did go outside bar down, but what happened? Look, they bought it right back again, defended that monthly open, then went outside bar down, inside bar, and then boom, it was gone. Look, this is Momo up. On SPY, we had literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 until this, until it went lower. But we could say definitely 8 weeks of higher highs, or 8 weeks of where you had no lower lows, right? That's 2 months worth of higher highs and no lower lows. So that's pretty impressive. That was a Momo up move that finally got extinguished here, right? This past week, we finally extinguished this Momo move, and that's a pretty phenomenal move. You have 8 consecutive weeks in a row of just higher highs. It was a crazy run. So, as I said, in another video, buying up here is a lot different than buying down here. Okay, this was the move to be had from the bottom of the Bollinger Band to the top of the Bollinger Band. That is a very common move, and we see it often, right? So once you understand that, not saying now it's going to come all the way down here to there, but that's not impossible. But once you bottom down, once you top out up here, at some point, if you do come down, you're going to touch the bottom of that band. That's going to be where the sellers are going to try to push it. Once you get to the bottom of the band, the destination is the other side of the band, and they did that. We bought down here, that was the destination trade to get to the top end. It's a lot different buying up here than it is down here, right? This is when things are cheap, this is when things are expensive. So now you were ideally looking for that pullback, maybe a multi-week pullback, to get some better prices before you take anything higher, or not. Maybe they just break it down, they break below the monthly open, below the quarterly open, and we break down back down here again. But again, we need to wait and see how this next bar plays out. What's the next bar? Outside bar and down, like the Momo bar, but it has to keep going. It can't do this. You can't break down one side and then come right back in the range right away. So then that shows you the sellers have lost strength. Because if you get a bar like this next week, all right, where it does that outside bar, and then all of a sudden it gets countered by a green bar like that, all you gotta do is take out that pivot high, and that extinguishes the momentum, and you know what happened. They're gonna take out that high, and we're going back on the highs again. So again, I'm still, I'm less bullish than I was before, but still carrying that bias until I get that next bar down, and until we get that big monthly reversal. That's when I get really, really bearish, and we start to break below these different time frames. The month is still green, right? That's that orange level, your monthly open, and the quarter's still green. And we still got plenty of month and plenty of quarter to go. So that's right now it's time to be flexible and open to what can appear next. So there's your SPY. Basically here I'll show you the signal that kind of is less clear on the SPY, but very, very clear on the Qs. But basically on the SPY, this is what you need to be looking at here. So here on the 2-day chart, let's do this. Okay, so here we had been going Momo up for 2 weeks now. Okay, on the 2-day chart, look, outside bar up, 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 up. All right, and finally, we finally on the last 2-day bar here, we got a reversal, up, down reversal, and we basically wipe out all the gains for the past 2 weeks. You see that? That low there is lower than that low. That bar's an outside bar, right? Is that a coincidence? No, it's not a coincidence. That's an outside bar, and that pivot is lower than that pivot's low. Takes out that, creates a broadening formation. Now on the 4-hour chart, it looks like so. So here now we had the Momo up to start the week, right? Momo up, boom. So SPY was flying from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So that's your Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday flying. Momo up until it does that reversal right there. It gapped down and went voomp, bye bye. Now here is when you watch for this week. I want to watch this outside, inside. How does that break on Tuesday? Excuse me. How do we break that range? That will be a very clear indication. It'll probably be a gap of some sort. Who knows if it's going to gap wide enough to get outside that range? But because we have the long weekend here, I'm sure price will gap this coming week. I'm just going to redraw the ranges here so we know where they are. But there we go. That's what we want to be watching for now. Seeing how we those two areas. Very more intermediate or more short term is the outside inside pattern on the 4-hour, and then on the weekly chart I want to see how we trade in relation to this past week's range. Qs very much like the SPY, seem kind of selling. They hit the Qs even harder than the SPY though, because it all started off. Things started to fall apart for the buyers on Thursday. So on Thursday we got that reversal signal right there. Okay, so here it doesn't look like a reversal signal because it kind of looks like a bullish hammer, but it was not a bullish hammer because this was actually going Momo up. This was Momo up, right? So look, momentum, Momo up, 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 up. There are no lower lows, right, for this many days, that many, basically 2 weeks. Then here, this is actually a gap reversal. It opened up here. I posted this in my. Sorry, it opened up there. So I posted it in my chat room and I said, the buyers are getting everything they asked for now. You do not want to see the buyers lose control of this and let the sellers fade the gap. They let them fade the gap. So this looks innocuous, looks innocent, but this is significant. And then we had a burst of buying in the afternoon session, which was actually more excess. This is like, it looked like it was, it was flying away, but that was basically excess on Thursday. So, there, this guy. Oh, sorry. This is Wednesday. This is your Thursday. No, this is your Tuesday. This is your Thursday. Or Wednesday, excuse me. So yeah, so on Wednesday here, although they closed up near the highs, in fact, we actually had faded that gap. It opened up here, it faded the gap, and then it fell over on Thursday, Friday on that the jobs claims. So on the 4-hour chart, let's just quickly see what that one looks like here. Yeah. So that's the sequence here. See the Wednesday? That's that blow off top there. It gaps up, they faded it, it looked very strong, but in fact it's a Momo up on the Thursday, on the Wednesday. Not as strong as you think because as soon as they take out that low, it's going through here. And here's the worst case scenario. If you're a buyer, you buy up here and they gap against you. So they trapped you, right? So that's basically a bearish, let's see the daily chart again. Yeah. It's a bearish kicking pattern, because it opens below the prior bar's low, right? So anyone who buys in here gets trapped, and they just basically squeeze them hard going into the end of the week. Now we had a strong pop in the afternoon session. It was a good buying opportunity. I showed you the VIX trade that I took. But here, inside bar now, how do we break that inside bar this coming week? The range is, it's an outside week as well for the Qs. what does that look like next week? How do we break outside of that range? It's a pretty wide range. So, it was a pretty wide move there. We do have, let's see here, probably about $34 move in here. So this coming week, how do you break outside this range, or do you go inside bar? It'd be very nice if it goes outside inside next week, and then maybe something sets up though afterwards. Outside inside back up, outside inside back down. Who knows? Let's wait and try to see. Right now, it's not full time from alignment to the upside to the downside yet. Right? You still got the monthly open right there. You got the quarterly right there. So even though it was a rough week, like if you put it into perspective, it's not. It's still a bit of a blip. So it hasn't changed things. The only thing is that you definitely are trading at a high, right? You're definitely trading at a high here. You can definitely see a pullback, but let's wait and see how that plays out. So that outside inside, let's see how that. Also that outside, let's see how it turns out. Okay, now we'll speed up a bit. Let's go to Dow now. Basically the same chart. Not much to say add here other than that on the monthly chart, we're now 4.28% away from all-time highs. So we got as close to like 1.4% away from all-time highs, but this week's selling we're back down to over 4% away from those all-time highs. Still expect those all-time highs to happen. I still think we're gonna lure more people in before we really fall apart. So inside up. On the weekly chart here they had an inside bar reversal, right, on the weekly chart. This is the danger. It goes inside bar up, right, hits the Bollinger Bands, goes outside bar, and this low here did not take out that low yet. So that's what I'm waiting for here. I would kind of expect that to happen. But if they can't do it, then that means the sellers are not as strong as you think. This outside bar now has not taken out that inside bar yet. So that would be the completion of the inside bar reversal pattern. So at least take out that inside bar. That's where people want to put their stops. So this coming week here, go ahead and watch the outside bar. That's pretty much the same with pretty much every single chart out there. We have so many outside bars on the indices and across so many stocks that's what you really want to be looking at is, what side of the outside bar are you trading in relation to the up end, to the upper end, to the bottom end, or are you somewhere in the middle? Okay, so there is your Dow chart, and you look at the Dow chart. When you start throwing up these outside bars, that's when you know, right? It's getting toppy in the Momo, because when you trade Momo, you have to get in fast and out fast. And if you don't get in fast, out fast, you're gonna get stopped out. That's what happened here. Momo up, and look on Thursday, Friday, they're relentless in the selling, and it comes right back through that pattern, outside and up, Momo up, reversal right there, and comes back out the other side, wiping out everyone's gains, except for here, right? They haven't taken out this low here yet. So that's your move there on the Dow. It is here, Momo down right now on the Dow on the daily chart. So you're waiting to see how far that weekly outside bar breaks, but you also got the Momo down move right now happening on the daily, so you can monitor that and see how far does this Momo down move go on the daily chart, because on the 4-hour you got this outside inside, just like we have with the SPY. So how does this outside inside break on Tuesday? Right at the bottom of that Bollinger Band though, right? So this is a little tricky for sellers because you've gone really far really fast, and I would not be surprised to see buyers step up here, as that's what tends to happen unless you can do some sort of Bollinger Band walk. Russell also did the inside bar reversal type of scenario. Right now though, we still got a lot of month left, but it's currently a red month, but inside bar up. If the Russell can get break below here, that low, that's an inside bar reversal on the monthly chart. That's significant. That's something that, if I see that's something that's going to be quite significant, because it happened here back in September of 2018. Inside bar up, inside bar, and then it came down. All right back. Look at this. This is October. Isn't that kind of funny how that looks very, very similar in terms of the pattern? Inside up, inside up, inside. This is also September. That's also September. So you break below. Let's say you close as an inside bar in September. October could get ugly, right? Because you break below there. Look what happens. So you have a brand new quarter. You see that when you have a brand new quarter, you break that time frame alignment. It pops up higher wherever you open up, and then you break below that low. You're coming back through the range. Rip. That's what happened here, right? Inside bar reversal, full time frame alignment, and boom. So that's what you need to watch out for. And again, this is when you have elections, right? In Q4, October, November will be definitely there'll be more volatility around then. How's that set up? So does this month stay inside bar? and set up, maybe just stays inside bar and lures people back in, gets people comfortable again because the volatility seems to die out. Or does they just get going right away and try to take out this past August's lows. Wait and see, right? So there's your monthly chart on the Russell. Pretty much the same for the weekly as the other ones. Inside bar reversal, right? Inside bar reversal is a different type of inside bar reversal, but same thing. Inside bar up, back down in the same bar. So that's an outside bar. Watching, see how that breaks. And then you're gonna have the same. I'm gonna get rid of this line here. And then you're gonna have the same type of sequence here on the 4-hour chart. Outside, inside on the 4-hour. How does that guy break? Look at this. Look at the number of outside bars on the Russell. It was chop city here. People were getting chopped up like crazy. I don't know if you can see or not, but basically what's creating here is a bunch of broadening formations in here, and the volatility is getting wider and wider. You can see how the ranges are tight, and then it starts expanding. Right, it gets wider and wider and wider. Finally, it goes Momo up, extinguishes right there, and boom. Anyone who got involved in this sequence, if you're long, you get stopped out right away. As far down as here, that low there, the outside bar. That's why I always say never put your stops below outside. Let's see, did they get stopped out? 149.05, 149.29. It's not quite. That came very close. You're holding your breath there. If you were down here, you're holding your breath. Yeah, so you're close. Because I would put my stop right there. If I was long here, I would put my stop there, 149.20, and I'd still be in the trade. But it's no point putting it there, because if it comes down to here, it's going to come down to there. So I prefer to put that bar there. So there's your Russell chart, watching the same thing, outside, inside, and that weekly chart. TSX is very, very tight trading. But look what it did finally give us. It is still, by the way, outside, inside, and up on the quarter. But this past month, we did get the monthly reversal. So that's significant. So here now, you finally get this reversal move. We have September breaking below August's lows. So that is significant. You want to see how that pans out now. You still got that green quarter, so it's still you're looking for short opportunities, but you got to watch out for that level. And the TSX has been trading so tight. This stuff is so tight. Like really narrow bars, and it wouldn't take much for this thing to basically wipe out all the gains from the prior 4 weeks. But look, they held the monthly open, and the quarterly open's right there. So even though this is it's only down less than 3%. Just because it's so tight here, it was quick to give back the gains. So the TSX is really not that spectacular of a next to trade. Pretty much a little boring, to be honest. But here, outside, inside on the 4-hour chart on the TSX. All right, watching to see how that breaks. Just like the other indices, no outside bar in this one. Okay, it's just basically an up-down move, but they defended the monthly open. Actually, sorry, that's not true, because the monthly open has moved now. The monthly open, this is not correct. The monthly open it says better up here. It's below the monthly open. All right, so here, because we have the new month here in September, that last chart's not correct. Red week, red month, quarter still good in terms of green. Okay, let's talk about the emerging markets. The emerging markets holding in there still. Yeah, red month, but still very, very tight month, inside month, and still working its way back up. I'm still expecting that pivot to get taken out. If it doesn't, that's going to be notable. But here, because it's the outside, inside, up. Outside, inside, up. Looking for that pivot to get taken out. This past week, though, you get a bit of selling, and it did go Momo up reversal. So here, Momo up, ran out of steam, took out that low, but right there now, you're expecting this low to get taken out, right? So they tried, but the buyers bought it back off that 8 EMEA. So far, they can't take it out. That low to get taken out, though, low of 43.64, 43.58. So that low to get taken out. But it is Momo down now on the daily chart. Momo down, but look how tight the Bollinger Bands are in this thing. It's just grinding higher. It doesn't take much now to basically wipe out all those gains. But look, they bought it off that Bollinger Band low, that 8 EMEA, and now you want to wait and see. Do you break? How do you break this past week's range? And how far does this Momo down move go? Because here on the 4-hour, you already got the outside inside like we have on the Dow and the SPY, and so waiting to see how that outside inside breaks. Okay, because if emerging markets start going green again, then yeah, I think the broader averages are going to follow suit. Let's go bonds. Bonds saw some surprisingly some selling. I thought it was going to be a lot stronger week than it was given the pullback, but right now it's tight stuff. Outside inside on the monthly chart, weekly chart is Momo up, but they gave it up, right? So they did break above prior week's high, but most of the week it was spent below that, and it was even below the quarterly open. So right now it's actually full time frame alignment to the downside on bonds. So bonds have not been doing well in this environment. The kind of a head scratcher there. Actually, you do have a green month. So this chart's not updated because we just had the month green this week, and so the monthly level is still drawn up here, but it should be by this coming week. You'll see this orange line up here, down here, where this thing opened up, like right there. Okay, so right now you're actually sandwiched. So that's my bad. Those charts are not entirely correct here. You're sandwiched here because for some of the month you were green on the week and the month. And yeah, where's that quarterly open? Yeah, so there's the blue line, the quarterly open. And so you were red on the quarter, but green on the week and month. So you had a bit of tightness there. Broke above, so you had full time from line for a few sessions there, 1, 2, 3. Then you come back down now, and now you're red on the quarter again. So now you're kind of getting the sandwich kind of mixture here, because you're tight. You're fighting these different time frames. So Momo up move, we're faded. So Momo up reversal, expecting this to come back down again. That's tight stuff on TLT. Not a lot going on there just because of the Fed, what they're doing, right? So they're just really depressing bond yields. So yeah, that's one market that's definitely been depressed, which allows the speculation in the stock market to take it a lot further, because the bond relationship is not what it used to be given the actions of the Fed. Okay, just a few more charts, and then we'll get to some of the names for the week. Let's talk about gold, micro gold, and then we'll talk about Bitcoin, because Bitcoin got hit this past week, and gold was an underperformer. So far, still Momo up on the monthly chart. Inside month so far, nothing much going on the gold chart. And this past week, we had a inside bar reversal to the upside, but look, that monthly level, the prior month's level, held. So right now it's still bullish to the upside because you did break above the prior week's high, but it has some work to do for the buyers to really step up. But most of the week here, you got a red week, red month, but green quarter. So technically they're fading it, but you did break above the prior week's range. So for gold, that's I'm looking at this this sequence here. It was Momo up, right? So here, Momo up, and they broke below that low here on Tuesday. Sorry, that is Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, right? So broke below there, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So it extinguishes the Momo up move. How far does it go? At the same time, you still have that inside bar reversal. So a little tricky stuff around gold. It's definitely not clean, right? It's definitely not clean. Not a chart that I'll be aggressively trying to trade given the mixed time frames. So right now, a lot of chop, easier stuff to trade out there than gold futures, because the direction is not entirely clear. And Bitcoin did definitely took a haircut this past week. So BTC USD on Bitfinex is where I'll be looking at it. There, where to go? Here it is. And man, this is I finally got a reversal here on the monthly chart. So here on the monthly chart, it did go out. Up, down on the monthly chart. We get a monthly reversal happening on Bitcoin. This is what I've been kind of warning, is like, you do have the outside, inside, up, right? So technically, this thing is still outside, inside, and up. You're basically getting back to the breakout level. But as I've been saying, how does Bitcoin not remain an inside year? So this is the 12-month chart now. The level to break up here is 13,764. If you don't break above that level, it's going to stay inside year. And then the way to stay inside year is for it to come back in again. So it came as high as 12,490. If it can't keep going by the very definition of inside, it has to turn around again in order for it to stay inside year. And right now, that's what's happening. It's pulling back, and it may, right now it's looking like it's more than likely to stay inside year. We still got a good 3+ months to go. But this again, watch this broader time frame pattern is still outside, inside, and up. Monthly, you get that reversal. So now a little bit choppy business going on, right? Because now you have the monthly open up here, and now you have the quarterly down here. So you have these mixed time frames fighting it out. And the weekly, it's obviously red, and it's an outside bar. So it goes, and this is the sequence I've been warning about, right? It's just like the SPY and the indices I said earlier. It's cheap to buy down here. You're buying up here, and you're going right in the Bollinger Bands. You're going inside bar and up. That's momentum. Going, and you have to see this thing do a Bollinger Band walk. If it doesn't, it's going to pull back in. That's what we saw this past week. I've not been aggressively buying Bitcoin at all, right? Like if you listen to these videos, like I've not been actively trading stuff because I prefer not to get involved. Personally, I don't want to buy up here, and then at the same time, I don't really care to short it because, frankly, there's going to be buyers that are going to step up until this level gets broken out. So I'm going to be a little bit more tactical, and I'm going to wait until the time frames line up for me so I can get easier trades. Yeah, certainly this is a nice move to the downside, but the volatility is there in equities too. Don't have to be trading every little swing and pop in cryptos. If that's not your thing. So here it is. It reversed 2 weeks ago, like not this week, but this last week, it did the reversal. This past week, they trapped some folks who thought we were going to come back up again, and then they got wrong, obviously, and had to cover. Boom, to the downside. So there's your Bitcoin chart now. I'm going to do the same thing as you do with equities. How do you break outside that? Right? And then, again, the level to really watch for is that quarterly level. Can that thing hold, or do they break it? That's what you really want to be watching. If they break below it, watch out, right? Watch out. So here on the daily chart on Bitcoin, yeah, it's Momo down right now. So Momo down. How far does this thing go? That's what I'm watching for Bitcoin. The only chart that's even worse than Bitcoin, well, actually a lot of charts worse than Bitcoin, but one chart for sure is Ethereum, right? So Ethereum have been flying high this past week. People have been getting stopped out. So here, big move, right? So basically took it from 226 all the way up to the high there was 488, so doubled it from the month of April. So high flyer finally got the monthly reversal. Okay, so it's still a lot of month left, but this outside bar here does break below that low there, so I want on that monthly time frame is going to get stopped out. Here, this is painful for a lot of folks because this is down 23% now. When you're buying up here, it's dangerous. I said that, like, this is trading. Once it breaks below there, you're in trouble, right? Because that's the Bollinger Band walk that fails. And it looked innocuous because they bought it back the following week. It looked like a green week and thinking, well, people thought maybe it's going to keep going higher. How often does that happen? Like, I don't know if people do the history. They don't look at charts. I don't know what the reason is, but this rarely ends well, right? Like, once this happens, even though it's a green week, you've broken that. It rarely ends well. It's very, I was saying in the videos, your expectation here, when it gets up here, it goes parabolic. So you're expecting a parabolic move. That's what you're signed up for. Okay, so you sign up for a parabolic move. So basically, you want a roller coaster, right? So that means if your roller coaster doesn't happen to the upside, it's going to happen to the downside. Okay, in this case, you got both. You got a bit up and you got a bit down. So you got both sides of that ride. So lucky you, if you trade Ethereum, you got both sides of that ride. It's like 2-in-1 type of deal. You get the upside and the downside. So if you're just in it for kicks, then you got a fun ride there, because you got to experience both sides. But if you're just trying to trade to make money, that and you want to go long, that's not a chart I want to go long. It just isn't. Right, you're going right in the highs, so that's a terrible trade location. Okay, just do a bit of history there. Look how that ride has ended each and every time. You're at the top end of that Bollinger Band and you're buying it. Like it doesn't end well. It doesn't end well. So sorry, Ethereum guys, but your time will come again. But for now, you're getting stopped out, and we'll reset and see when the next buying opportunity is. All right. So for now, there's our wide range for Ethereum. Let's see how that next bar plays out. Okay, so let's talk about things I'll be looking for this coming week now, and then we'll talk about the stars and dogs this past week. So here's some interesting charts. So here's one that I've been watching, Sun Power. All right, so this thing's been going Momo up. This is dangerous, right? So this is Momo up, Bollinger Band walk. I've been warning people. It's like, okay, this is the same situation we've been talking about. If this low gets taken out, watch out this coming week or the week after, right? If it does, what we saw at Ethereum happen, if we break below that low, even ends up green the next week. If you break that low, eventually you can expect a pullback. So put SPWR on that watch list, because that could be a potential mover. You do have earnings all the way in October, so you got time for something to play out. Okay, let's talk about some names that have some volatility and you want to see how that thing plays out. Double outside week on Shop. I like the double outside week because we know people are getting stopped out and something's going to happen on the break of that range. So Shop, watching the ranges and see how that breaks. Another name similar to that, Zuo. Not Zuo, there we go. Big range, that's double outside. Here's the tricky part, right? It hit both sides of that Bollinger Band, and so now you might just get choppy city, but that's an interesting one to watch and see. That's what happens. You go deep outside the Bollinger Bands, right? Boom, it comes back outside the other side. Okay, so there's Zuo. Now CB, here's a play here. It's interesting to see how that plays out. even with all the volatility this past week, it ended up inside bar. So now it's coiling. Outside, inside. How does this week break? Okay. The issue there is that it is inside month, but possible inside bar reversal on the monthly chart if it breaks above August's highs. So August's highs, you got to see, if this thing breaks above here, they're possibly going after August's highs. Okay. CB. Let's talk General Mills, GIS, kind of a slower name, but double outside bar. Watching see how that guy trades because that's going to affect some things like the Dow. WIX. Okay, this thing looked like it was going to hit all-time highs, but failed. Double outside bar as well. They did defend though, and they've defended that that quarterly open. So WIX now on the watch list to see how they resolve this scenario. Who gets the best of the other side, the buyers or the sellers? WKHS. Here's one that's actually still working. So there's a few names that are still working. To the upside, that is. Workhorse, this one's been a high flyer. It's still Momo up. So, and not in the Bollinger Bands. So Momo up on the weekly chart. So, this thing's not affected at all by the pullback we saw this past week. So until that low gets taken out, it's the buy still up to the upside on WKHS. Facebook looking interesting here. They shrugged it off this past week. But here, this is the tricky part now. The end of the week inside bar. But look, they're in the Bollinger Bands. They break below this past week's lows. Boom. Possibly rip right through back Facebook again, right? So this September is the open up here. It'll be open somewhere here, right? Opened up there. So we have a red month now on Facebook. You do have a green quarter though, but we break below the level here, we'll come back through that. So that's gonna be interesting to see that. Names that are working still, hotels. So our gambling casinos. Las Vegas Sands. Look, inside bar up, inside bar, because does it keep going? Win, WYNN. Inside bar up, inside bar, or does it reverse? You get an inside bar reversal, breaks below this low here, inside bar reversal back to the downside. Green quarter though, watch out for that. And airlines, there's a lot of airline names that are working, but I'll show you one. AAL. Look, even though that's selling this past week, they kept it inside week, right? So they did not affect the airlines whatsoever. In fact, some of the high flyers were the airlines. So let's talk about those right now. So let's talk about some of the high flyers this past week. Here's some of the stars. So let's begin with obviously VIX. That was the star this past week. That's up. What was the gains again? A little small there. It was up 13%, so not a bad week for the VIX. Watch out that we talked about it before. This is the Bollinger Band walk now. SVIX. This thing did not get affected whatsoever by this past week's pullback, right? Inside bar reversal. Inside bar down, reversal back to those recent highs. The good thing with this thing is it's not going into all-time highs. So this could run higher, although, again, dependent on the market. Very much dependent on the market. It's going to have a struggle climbing this Bollinger Band if the market's selling off. Go. This thing, I know a couple folks and that are in my chat room who were long this thing. Congrats to Andy and Claude who were long this thing. I was long this thing early. I got way too early. Got out I think on was it Monday or was it the prior week even? Yeah, I think I got out even the prior week. I didn't ride it as far as I know. Some people got up to here, 9 something. So congrats to those who are holding that or who were managed to make money off Go. That was a nice pattern. So Go, big high flyer on a sale of some of their assets. Intel might have bottomed, right? We talked about this pattern last week. The inside bar, Momo down reversal. So Momo down reversal. Once it broke above here, it has had no lower lows, right, for several weeks now. So long as that pattern holds, you do not want to see a lower low here. But right now, it's consecutive higher highs on the weekly chart. Good name, INTC. We did get weak on Thursday, Friday, but did not take out any lower lows. Goldman Sachs. So financials hanging in there. So Goldman Sachs, it's kind of choppy stuff here, but like this is up. Well, actually did break on Friday, but it's if you look at the weekly chart, it has had again no lower low this past week. It was a green week for Goldman. That's quite the exception, especially given how rough some of the other indices were faring. Financials overall, I think looking pretty strong. Look at FAST, right? So this ETF FAST. Red week, but again, this is a 3 times ETF, not a lower low either. So holding it up here and looking with good potential. Look at the monthly chart on FAST. Inside bar up and up. So no break of that trend yet since the bottoming out process in March. And one more name before we move on and talk about it already, airlines, right? So LUV had a pretty good week. Look at that. That's had a pretty steady 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks inside bar to end on the week. There's your 200-day moving average. So does airlines keep going higher? And if so, on what reason? Finally, the dogs. So, lots of dogs this week, so I had to cherry pick some. So I cherry picked these here, PHM. So you know the home builders have been high flyers, but they gave it up 2 weeks ago, right? So 2 weeks ago, did Momo down, had a little pop in the early week, but now it's been going down further and further. There's your home builders, Mastercard. I don't know what's going on with those guys, but man, they got hammered this past week. Mastercard, boom, turns down. Still green quarter though. Fastenal. So yeah, these names got hit Thursday, Friday. You know they cut those guys legs underneath them. Ameren, I don't know what the story in Ameren. Don't really care either, but certainly whatever they're doing isn't good for their stock. So Momo down on the on Ameren. Very strong moves here, to tune of close to minus 35% in the week. So very strong weakness. Domino's Pizza got hit. There was a high flyer. It was pretty steady there. Like it was a nice steady ride. Started getting aggressive here though. Right, look at the angle of that ascent, and that marks the same angle of the descent. Momo down on DPZ. And one final name, Home Depot. So have been again on one of these nice smooth charts till things got rocky here. Momo up, got extinguished right there, and then the last 2 days here got the sellers basically took out all the gains that happened the prior 1, 2, 3 weeks, maybe even 4 weeks, close to 4 weeks. Same thing with Lowe's, right? So Lowe's, same thing. Ouch. Lowe's weekly chart looks like this. Is that an outside bar? No, just your typical up down. I'll see Home Depot again. Yep, up down. So monthly charts though hasn't broken the trend yet, but getting close, getting very close. All right, well that's a wrap to this week's video. Once again, I appreciate spending the time with me on each one of these videos. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them on the YouTube comment section or head over to the blog at thetradingedge.org. You can actually even sign up for my newsletter when you get to the website. That way you get notified when this video drops. Of course, you can click on the big subscribe button on YouTube to get notified when that video drops through YouTube. And if you like, if you really like the videos, give it a big thumbs up. That way we find more viewers and keeps motivated to do these videos. So I hope you have a good Labor Day long weekend. Take some time off. You deserved it if you traded this past week. Come back recharged and strong for the shortened holiday week this coming week. So I wish you the best. Stay strong and look forward to talking to you again in the coming week. All the best.